There are still a lot of mysteries left unsolved in the Classroom Elite series. Even after a long and confusing second-year arc, we still didn't know why Aino Koji was sent to Advanced Nurturing High School, or why some students have the same ID. Here is a quick summary of all unresolved plots and mysteries up to Volume 12 second-year arc. Let's start with the student ID mystery, because this plot has been forgotten for so long. This was first mentioned in Volume 9, where Aino Koji realizes Kamuro and Ibuki share the same student ID. When he asks Horikita Manabu claims that he didn't know anything about it, but he reminds Aino Koji to keep it in mind because school never does something without a purpose. Not only Ibuki and Kamuro, there are some students who also share the same ID. Yukimura and Albert, Kanzaki and Kaneda, Katsuragi and Yamochi. However, after Yamochi's expulsion, Katsuragi's ID got changed and now he shares the same ID with Shibata. This mystery was never mentioned again after that. After Kamuro expulsion, maybe there is some change to Ibuki ID, but we still didn't get any info about it. I guess we still need to wait a bit longer. Let's just hope Kinugasa didn't forget about it. Talking about students, each class has their own problem and unresolved conflict. Let's start with Horikita class. If we are talking about Horikita class, Koenji is still the most mysterious and enigmatic character. Koenji's existence is even more mysterious than Aino Koji. Why did he come to this school? And how far is the limit of his ability? Everything is still foggy. From what we know, Koenji is the heir of the conglomerate, and he has such a superiority complex to the point he considers every exam as a child play and not worth his time. From what he said in Volume 11, he spent quite some time in China to train, and that might be why he has some connection with Michan. Koenji already has a protection point to prevent expulsion, and he has a contract with Horikita, so he will not be in danger. He already gained his freedom, so we will not see much of him next year, but his connection with Michan might be a key to making him show his true self. Koenji also secretly has a desire to graduate from Class A. He once tried to buy private points using real money, and he already gathered a lot of points from the island exam and sports festival. He must be into something. The other student is not as interesting as Koenji, but how they will react to Meizono's expulsion is something worth waiting for. After Volume 12, there is a chance Meizono will expose everything before she leaves, and their classmate will see the true nature of Aino Koji and how capable he actually is. They must had some suspicion before, but Volume 12 will set it in stone. The entire class might consider him the true leader, and they will fear him because he can expel anyone who he doesn't like. Not only their class, the whole school will know about it. Aino Koji's quiet and peaceful life will soon come to an end. This change will definitely affect his relationship with Kei, with Aino Koji dropping a lot of hints that he will leave Kei. This might be the trigger for the end of their relationship. Speaking of relationships, we are still waiting for Sudo and Onodera development. I hope they will actually make it work. From Ryuen class, there is not a lot to talk about. Because Ryuen dominates the entire class, the students are usually obedient, except for Tokito. Tokito has shown a lot of dislike toward Ryuen, but after Volume 12 he got tamed a little. He hates Ryuen but doesn't want to bother his other classmate. Maybe he will continue playing the opposition, but not to an extreme degree such as collaborating with other classes. Ryuen is the most worrying aspect in his class. After his humiliating victory in Volume 12, there is a chance he will have another breakdown and stop becoming class leader, just like what happened in the first year. If that happens, Katsuragi will definitely take over the leader position, with Katsuragi's style to play defensive. Ryuen class is going to be okay but will never reach Class A. I hope Ryuen recovers as fast as possible. There is only 1 year left. There is no more time to cry. Also, it still bugged me why Kaneda made contact with Hashimoto. Kaneda is considered one of the smartest students in Ryuen class, but we never see his personal side. Is he going to betray Ryuen, or that contact is simply Ryuen order? Maybe Kinugasa forgot about it. Next is Hanami class. After what happens to her in Volume 12, how she will react will be the turning point of her class. If she breaks or gets mentally ill, someone needs to take over the leader position. This is where the Kanzaki revolution plot will take place. Kanzaki has shown a very disappointing performance in Volume 12, so this is his chance to redeem himself. But what if Hanami doesn't break? What if she chose to have revenge against Ainokoji and start to show more of her crazy side? Then, Kanzaki revolution will no longer be needed, and the reader could mock Kanzaki forever for his cowardice. Speaking of Hanami, she still has a promise to meet Ainokoji in spring break. If both of them fulfill their promise, their meeting will be either the end of everything or the beginning of something completely new. After what happens in the final exam, this meeting will decide what kind of relationship they end up having. There is also their homeroom teacher, Hoshinomiya Chii. Her hatred toward Chabashira is not something that will perish in just one volume. Now that Chabashira has managed to reach Class A, I hope she will make more dangerous moves in the future. The other unresolved plot from Hanami class is whatever Watanabe could confess his feelings to Amikura or not. Honestly, I really don't care about this one. And the last one is Sakayanagi class. One thing that left hanging from volume 12 is whatever Sakayanagi will leave the school or not. If she really leaves the school, then her class will no longer have a leader, and someone needs to step up. The most potential leader is Morishita, Sanada, or Hashimoto. Morishita has been given a lot of spotlight for few volumes, and she is quite smart and tactful, but she always acts alone. Sanada is a calm guy, but doesn't really have enough capability, and Hashimoto is considered a traitor by his own class. None of them really have what it takes to become a leader. However, considering Ryuen nature, their bet will most likely get cancelled, and Sakayanagi will still become class leader. Sakayanagi already forgives Hashimoto, so their class no longer has any problems inside. They will come back even stronger. Other than the second year, the first year also had some promising plots that were still left unexplored. Started with Hosen, who became the main antagonist in the first volume of the second year arc. He always seeks a chance to fight Ainokoji once again, but never gets it. There is also Ichika, who becomes the target of several people, like Sakayanagi and Ryuen. After Ryuen and Sakayanagi lost, they might want to find a weaker opponent before challenging him again, and Ichika has potential to be their target. And then there is Sakurako, who gives a faint hint that she is Yuki's sister. Yuki was a White Room student from the same generation as Ainokoji. Tsubaki becoming Yuki's sister is not that interesting, but it can open a path to other White Room stuff like what happened to the rest of 4th generation. And the last one is Ishigami. He is clearly the one with the most hidden motives right now. He was able to contact Ainokoji even before he enrolled in school, and he has a special connection with Atsuomi. He is smart enough to control the situation behind the scenes and smart enough to keep a low profile. I believe he will be a key player in the main plot of the third year arc. This also ties to Atsuomi's arrival in the next volume. Whatever his intention, the setup is just perfect for Ishigami. And how about the third year? Even if they almost graduate, there are two things that I hope get mentioned in the next volume. The first one is the amount of money they collected to transfer a few students to Class A. The second one is how Kiriyama will react knowing that he failed to stop Nagumo and failed to get to Class A. Nagumo's graduation itself needs to be impactful to cover his failure as an antagonist. Just like how Horikita Manabu left something for Ainokoji, Nagumo deserves a proper closure for his character. And then, let's talk about what happens outside the school. Believe it or not, Kinugasa had left a few hints that might be related to what will happen after Ainokoji graduates. Starting with Horikita Manabu giving Ainokoji his phone number, Nagumo going to the same college as Manabu, and Ryuen, who aspires to be a politician. If there will be a sequel after school, we might see them again. Even if there isn't, they still could help in different ways. After all, Atsuomi's intention to enter politics will involve all layers of society. Atsuomi is clearly the final boss that Ainokoji needs to face at the end. Atsuomi must have a reason to send his son to school. He even made up a story about his butler committing suicide just to make sure Ainokoji doesn't suspect anything. However, Tsubasa leaks quite a bit of hint that makes Ainokoji aware of it. Tsubasa is once an Avenger who wants to revenge her childhood friend. However, with the Matsuo still alive theory, Tsubasa's existence became quite confusing. If Matsuo was still alive, then who's the one hanging in her monologue in Volume 3? If she is not an Avenger, then who is she actually? There are definitely a lot of things that happen outside, and we will most likely get the answer after Ainokoji graduation. Before that, I know Koji still has 1 year left in school. His last year will definitely become the most memorable one. One thing that readers wait the most is the possibility of I know Koji changing classes. I know Koji already mentioned this possibility a few times, and even Koenji figured it out. However, how he got 20 million points is still a mystery. Nagumo already gave him some point, but it's still not enough. Maybe I know Koji will not transfer directly after the 3rd year arc, but wait a few months to collect more points. I know Koji's true goal is a mystery on its own. He tries to create a balance between the 4 classes and help them grow. Some readers speculate that he helped Horikita grow so she could defeat him after he left her class. After all, the defeat of I know Koji is the defeat of Y2V12 and Natsuomi. There is 1 more year before graduation. In the 3rd year arc, new student will arrive, and new battle will take the spotlight. Next year, everything needs to be solved. For better or worse, I hope this series gets the best ending that everyone hopes for.